So what's happening to James O'Keefe right now? And again, when I say what's happening, this is not just, the universe. This is not something that's just happens, just happening arbitrarily, just events that are occurring. No. What's happening to James O'Keefe right now is he's being targeted by the FBI. The FBI under the Biden administration, Biden's FBI raided James O'Keefe's home, raided the homes of 2 of James O'Keefe's undercover journalists, or his journalists, and confiscated laptops, confiscated. I think James said he had 2 iPhones that were confiscated. This was a pre-dawn raid. James woke up to the FBI banging on his door. He opened the door. Bright lights were shined in his eyes. He was handcuffed, pushed against a wall. The FBI searched his home for 2 hours. Why? Well, because James O'Keefe, who had chosen not to publish what was presented to him as the diary of Ashley Biden. Let me back up. This is what happened. Ashley Biden allegedly left her diary in a hotel room. People who came into the hotel room after Ashley Biden, these tipsters, they found this diary. They became tipsters because they reached out to James O'Keefe and said, listen, we found Ashley Biden's diary. Do you want it? It contains allegedly bombshell allegations about Joe Biden himself. Well, James O'Keefe's people engaged in negotiations for this diary. They ultimately chose not to publish anything associated with it because they are so careful about the veracity of what they publish. They could not establish beyond the shadow of a doubt that this was, in fact, a genuine article, that this was, in fact, the diary of Ashley Biden. So they chose not to publish it. And that's that. Except that the FBI says, well, Ashley Biden's diary was stolen. And you were associated with so we're going to confiscate your iPhones. Here's what I don't get. You can't actually have this both ways. By the way, O'Keefe's people tried to return the diary to Ashley Biden, and it was refused because Ashley Biden's people said that wasn't her diary, that wasn't authentic, it wasn't real. So how can you have Ashley Biden's people refusing to collect their property, denying that it's their property, and at the same time, the FBI raiding James O'Keefe, claiming that Ashley Biden's diary was stolen? It was either a genuine diary or it was a fake. If it was a genuine diary, why did Ashley Biden's people refuse to take it back? And if it was real, then why is the FBI raiding James O'Keefe? Because he didn't steal it. He, as a journalist, was given information from this diary much the same way that the Hunter Biden laptop story happened, right? This is absolutely shocking. He is a journalist. His home was raided. His reporter's notes were confiscated after he tried to return this property to the rightful owner. Now, my first reaction when I heard this is the fact that the FBI raided James O'Keefe's home is directly out of Kamala Harris's playbook. This is how Kamala Harris operates. In fact, this is what Kamala Harris did to David Daleiden in California when she was Attorney General. She raided his apartment, or had her people raid his apartment, and then her people leaked the information, the laptops, the electronics, the data, the notes that they had confiscated from David Daleiden. They leaked that to Planned Parenthood, who is David Daleiden's #1 adversary. This smacks of Kamala Harris. Both David Daleiden and James O'Keefe are journalists. They are undercover investigative journalists. They are part of the free press, which is protected by the United States Constitution. And so what does this mean when we hear that the FBI raided James O'Keefe's apartment? This is scary stuff. This is dangerous stuff. This is Soviet-style targeting of individuals based on their political opinions, using the power of the state to try to stifle them. Make no mistake, this is Kamala Harris. And this is why the FBI should be abolished. How much corruption does it take to completely poison an entire agency of the federal government? Because the FBI has given us for years now example after example after example of corruption, of using the power of government to target their political enemies. They did it with Trump. They used the power of the federal government under the guise of the FBI to try to take down a duly elected president. The FBI tried to entrap Michael Flynn. The FBI is now targeting a journalist who didn't even publish a story because he couldn't actually certify that that diary was authentic. So he tried to return that diary to the rightful owner, and they raid his apartment. What other notes have they confiscated? What other stories are they trying to stop him from reporting? They're trying to tie him up in legalese to try to stop him from reporting stories that the Biden administration doesn't like. This is exactly what Kamala Harris does. This is her strategy. Kamala Harris is so dangerous. And because the right, yeah, we pushed back when David Daleidon's apartment was raided, when she raided David Daleidon's apartment, but because the right doesn't put a stop to this, the left and Kamala Harris, they're emboldened. They know that this is a strategy that works to tie up independent journalists who don't have the same funding, don't have the same resources as the federal government of the United States does, to tie them up in all kinds of lawsuits and legalese and legal fees until they're unable to expose the wrongdoing that the leftists are engaged in the first place. This is, as I said, this is almost textbook Soviet-style targeting of individual journalists who are reporting things that the leftist politicians don't want reported. So the leftists in charge of the government uses the power of the government to try to squash them and stifle them. And this is why you and I, as conservatives, we must defend due process of law, because James O'Keefe is not enjoying due process of law right now. Not at all. He's not enjoying the presumption of innocence until proven guilty. No, the left is weaponizing the law against him because they don't like what he's saying.